Welcome to yet another edition of TV Africa News. I'm Najima Luima, but first are the headlines. High Court slashes Kizza Besigye bail cash term to shillings 3 million. FDC condemns exploiting suspects while granting them bail. UN expert says excessive force against Sudan protesters unacceptable. Mia misses penalty as dominant Algeria beats Uganda. Welcome once again to the news in detail. The High Court Criminal Division has directed that the cash bail that was granted to full-time presidential candidate Dr. Kizza Besigye by the Buganda Road Chief Magistrates Court be adjusted to 3 million because it was extremely too much considering the nature of the crime and what the law states as a punishment in case one is found guilty. We have more. Charged with incitement of violence last month, Besigye was released on shillings 30 million cash bail by Grade 1 Magistrate Siena Omugisha. The leader of the People's Front for Transition, Besigye, through his lawyer Elias Lukwago, filed an appeal before this very court last month, challenging the unfair terms that were imposed on him before he is released on bail, that is the 30 million cash bail. In the ruling done by High Court Justice Michael Elubu, read by Deputy Registrar Feston Senga, the court has highlighted that the nature of the crime that Besigye was charged with of inciting violence requires the accused person to serve a jail term of 3 years or a fine of 1,404,000 shillings if found guilty, considering each currency point is shillings 20,000. The court added that the offence with which Besigye was charged is not grave and therefore the bail terms should be fair and in tandem with the offence. He further noted that Besigye was charged with 3 other people, of which 2 of them were granted a non-cash bail and 1 a cash bail of 1 million, so it was unfair for Besigye to be granted a cash bail of such a huge amount. The judge said bail is not a punishment but rather meant to ensure attendance of the accused for the trial and reduced the bail cash term to shillings 3 million cash. Besigye is accused of asking the public to join him in protests over the high commodity prices, which tantamount to inciting violence, contrary to Section 51B of the Penal Code Act. According to the charge sheet, trouble for Besigye started on May 24th at Arua Park, Muno Village, Shauliako Parish in Kampala Central Division, without lawful excuse at an assembly made statements to members of the public to wake up and protest high commodity prices and what he described as stupid succession birthdays, an act which was calculated to have led to damage of property. Some FDC party members have been present in court in support of Besigye, including the FDC President Patrick Amliat. The Forum for Democratic Change has cautioned court judges to avoid being manipulated by the self-seeking individuals while conducting legal obligations. Nalugo has more.
The FDC party deputy spokesperson John Chikonyogo made the remarks today while reacting on High Court ruling that reduced the 30 million cash bail slapped on Dr. Kizza Besigye last month to 3 million shillings.
Judiciary is supposed to be neutral when it is handled in these cases. The government is free to take me to court if it wants, and I'm entitled to justice. But if it reaches a stage where the judiciary is being used by the politicians to lock away their opponents, then it touches our bad nerves as FDC. Ugandans have the right to bail, as enshrined in our constitution, but you cannot ask someone to pay 30 billion. It may look very easy to say 30 million in words, but getting it is not a joke.
Buganda Road Court Magistrate Siena Omugisha last week asked Dr. Kizza Besigye to pay 30 million shillings in cash, with sureties bonded on non-cash of 70 million shillings to be granted bail, which he refused and opted for a remand. He later ordered his lawyers, led by Party Vice President Erias Lukwago, to appeal, and the High Court has today ruled by reducing the bail fee. However, Chikonyogo says such kind of decisions degrade the dignity of courts and asked Chief Justice to take immediate action.
For some of us who have been in the countryside, who have smelled poverty, if any of those people from those countryside areas was to come to court and be asked 30 million, you will die in prison. So, as FDC, we demand that the Chief Justice comes clean on this.
On the other hand, FDC also asked government to do something about the ailing economy and the state of the lives of Ugandans.
UN human rights expert on Sudan called on Saturday for accelerated investigations into killings of protesters and other atrocities as the death toll since last year's coup nears 100.
Sudan has been rocked by deepening unrest and a violent crackdown against near-weekly mass protests since Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan's power grab on October 25th derailed a fragile transition to civilian rule. Adama Dieng told reporters, quoting a toll provided by pro-democracy medics, that it is unacceptable that 99 people have been killed and more than 5,000 injured as a result of excessive use of force by the joint security forces. He called on authorities to expedite investigations into the killings of protesters. On what is his second visit to Sudan since last year's coup, Dieng has raised concerns during talks with senior officials over arbitrary and mass arrests of activists, sexual and gender-based violence, and acts of torture and ill treatment during detentions. He said a probe set up by Sudan's authorities has confirmed 4 cases of sexual violence during the protests. The UN expert also pointed to an intensification of an existing economic crisis since the coup, which has seen Western donors return to the sidelines after a brief engagement with a civilian military power-sharing government established in the wake of autocrat Omar al-Bashir's ouster in 2019.
Let's go for a quick break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. West African heads of state put off further punishing the leaders of Mali, Guinea and Burkina Faso at a regional summit on Saturday as coup leaders in all 3 countries continue to insist that it will take years before new elections can be held. Let's take a look. According to the president of Ecowas Commission, Jean-Claude Cassibro, the 15-nation regional bloc known as the Economic Community of West African States will convene again on July 3rd before determining if further sanctions will be implemented in the 3 suspended member states. Saturday's meeting marked the regional bloc's latest attempt to pressure military leaders in the 3 African countries to restore constitutional order and bring about democratic elections. Coup leaders in each of the 3 countries have proposed time frames for a political transition that are substantially longer than what the regional bloc has demanded. Bro called the international community to increase the support, especially in Mali and Burkina, where the humanitarian situation has worsened due in part the security situation, among other factors. Ecowas already imposed strong economic sanctions against Mali back in January, shutting down most commerce along with land and air borders with other countries in the bloc. However, those measures have yet to bring about a change in power. In the months since, Colonel Assimi Goïta has only further isolated the country internationally, pulling out of a regional security force and also shutting down major French media broadcasters. Goita's government insisted in April that no vote can be held until 2024, which would extend their term to power to nearly 4 years, despite originally agreeing to an 18-month transition back to democracy. Moving on, Angola President Joao Lourenço announced the date before the Council of the Republic, a consultative body that met on Friday to vote on the head of state's proposal. Even before the date of the ballot was revealed, electioneering had long gotten underway. The leader of the opposition UNITA party, Adalberto da Costa Jr., decried what he called the unequal treatment accorded to political parties. He said that the competitors in an electoral challenge do not have differentiated valences, adding that the law puts them all in the same circumstances as their constitution and the laws say. He said that as any serious and honest citizen evaluates, they are in a process of electoral approximation, absolutely violating the laws. The member of the ruling party's political bureau, Ru Falcao Pinto de Andrade, told the media that the MPLA has shown organizational capacity while the opposition sees phenomena that do not exist. Joao Lourenço was elected on August 23, 2017 and is seeking a second term. It will be the 5th time that Angolans go to the polls since 1992. Away from that, Kenya's Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission on Saturday cleared Deputy President William Ruto to run for the country's presidency in the upcoming election this August. Considered an early front runner, Ruto used the occasion to criticize what he believes to be unfair treatment by the Kenyan media. Mr. Ruto is contesting the election under the banner of Kenya Kwanza, Swahili for Kenya First, with the promise to grow the economy. The official rate of unemployment among those aged between 18 and 34 years is nearly 40%, and the economy is not creating enough jobs to absorb the 800,000 young people joining the workforce every year. He has therefore coined the phrase "hustler nation" to refer to the young people struggling to make ends meet. Mr. Ruto has promised a bottom-up approach to the economy, saying it will benefit the poor who are bearing the brunt of the cost of living crisis that has hit the world following the coronavirus pandemic and the war in Ukraine. Ruto said shortly after a certificate confirming his presidential bid was handed to him by Wafula Chebukati, the Election Commission chairman, that they want respectfully request their friends in the Fourth Estate, the media, to be fair. On Sunday, this same commission declared veteran opposition leader Raila Odinga a candidate. Odinga is the flag bearer for the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition. Odinga said that they have confidence that the IEBC has got the capacity to conduct free and fair elections and urged them to live by the script and do exactly what the people of Kenya expect of them. Let's once again take a quick break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, The Right. To know in our business news today, the Democratic Republic of Congo's Inspectorate General of Finance, in a report revealed on Saturday, points to numerous irregularities in the management of the state-owned mining company Mines, which it says has caused the loss of hundreds of millions of dollars.
According to the weekly Jeune Afrique, which first published the findings, the anti-corruption agency launched an audit to the company several months ago for the period 2010 to 2020 and completed its report on May 31st. The state-owned mining company Mines was headed during this period by Albert Yuma, a close associate of former President Joseph Kabila, who was ousted last December as head of the company by the government of Felix Tshisekedi. In particular, the IGF says it has not been able to trace more than $400 million out of a total of some $600 million in tax advances and loans to the state. The IGF also claims that from 2012 to 2020, Mines partners have achieved a global turnover estimated at $35 billion, while the company has only received $564 million in royalties from these partnerships, or 1.6%. The financial watchdog is also looking into the minerals for infrastructure deals signed with China in 2008. The IGF believes that there has been no serious monitoring of the investments made by the Chinese partners and the income generated by the Mines joint venture.
In our health news today, the Health Minister, Dr. Jane Ruth Aceng, has warned Ugandans to be aware of the resurgence of the COVID pandemic in the country. In a statement on her social media on Sunday, Dr. Aceng said the country has started experiencing an increase in the daily number of infections, just like it was last year in January 2021 when the deadly Omicron variant hit the country, killing several people. According to Dr. Aceng, Ministry of Health has started experiencing an increase in the daily number of COVID-19 cases compared to the stable trends observed since January 2022, which increase is similar to the rise the country faced in June 2021 when the Delta variant was prevalent. The Health Minister, however, noted that the ministry is prepared to respond and save lives than before the worst comes to worst. She also noted that there is no indication for travel restrictions or lockdowns in the current circumstances, but urged individuals for self-protection. In April, government further relaxed the COVID restrictions by asking that fully vaccinated members of the public would not be required to wear face masks when they are outdoors, provided there are no crowds. However, the vulnerable and high-risk population, including those aged 50 years and above and people with comorbidities irrespective of their age, were asked to wear face masks all times, whether vaccinated or not. That advice came on the backdrop of the reduction in the daily COVID infections in the country, with a positivity rate of less than 2% since February 2022. However, the latest development indicates things have since changed for the worst, as the number of daily COVID cases seems to have gone up. In sports, Isa Mandi and Yochef Belaili netted in either half as Uganda Cranes were beaten 2-0 by dominant Algeria on Saturday. In a game, the hosts dominated from start to finish. Farouk Mia missed a penalty that could have changed the tide of the game. We have more.
The host Algeria got the breakthrough in the 28th minute, with Mandy slotting home after the ball bounced off the crossbar. Uganda had an opportunity to restore parity after Khalid Aucho was banded in the area, but Mia saw his weak spot kick saved. Then Charles Lukwago's Uganda's best player on the day made 3 crucial saves before the break. In the second half, the game plan never changed as the Cranes toiled to close spaces and deny Algerians sight on goal. But with 10 minutes to the end, Abelaile sliced through the Uganda Cranes backline, first beating substitute Steven Serwada and Gavin Kizito before his way past the centre-backs and slotted far beyond Lukwago's reach to extend lead. In the same Group F, Tanzania drew 1-1 with Niger in the early kickoff, implying that Uganda are now bottom with no point. Next on menu for Cranes is a home clash against Niger on Thursday at St. Mary's Stadium Chitende, while Algeria will visit Taifa Stars of Tanzania in Dar es Salaam.
That was the news. Thank you for always keeping it TV Africa. Please do stay tuned.